This week's sermon is entitled Reliable Sources.
Talk about something it's in the news. You know, an old preacher one time told me that Tony, if a good sermon is done with one hand on the Bible and one hand on the front page of the newspaper, amen. Because a lot of times people want to hear and understand something from a practical level. And I wanted to, because of course something that's really big. Can we go on to the next slide? Something that's really big on everyone's heart and on everyone's mind. I just want to thank the Lord that at least we have a jury that, you know, that the case is going to go before a jury, and there's going to be at least a semblance of justice. Not saying there's going to be justice, but there's going to be at least a semblance of justice. Amen. So, because man's justice is not true justice all of the time. God's justice is perfect and complete, but man's justice is lacking. And one of the reasons why man's justice may be lacking in this case is because you are counting on human testimony. And when you count on human testimony, things can go wrong, because human beings, when God cannot hold them accountable, when God does not hold them accountable, they can lie. Amen. They can lie. And as I was reading and doing some research on the Trayvon case, I read two separate news reports. One was from Fox News, amen, and the other was from CNN. So the Fox News report was, and I may get them switched back and forth, I wanted to read it to you. A witness, this is the Fox News report, I believe. A witness we haven't heard from before paints a much different picture than what we've seen so far of what happened that night. 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was shot and killed. That night of the shooting, police say there was a witness who saw it all. Our sister station in Orlando has spoken to that witness. What Sanford police investigators have in the folder they put together on the killing of Trayvon Martin, few knew about. The file now sits in the hands of the state attorney. Now that file is just weeks away from being opened to a grand jury. It shows more now about why police believed that night that George Zimmerman shouldn't have gone to jail. Zimmerman called 911 and told dispatchers he was following a team. The dispatcher told Zimmerman not to, and from that moment to the shooting, details are few. But one man's testimony could be key for the police. The guy on the bottom who had a red sweater on was yelling to me, "Help, help!" And I told him to stop, and I was calling 911. He said, Trayvon Martin was in a hoodie, Zimmerman was in red. The witness only wanted to be identified as John and didn't want to be shown on camera. His statements to police were instrumental because police backed up Zimmerman's claims, saying those screams on the 911 call are those of Zimmerman. When I got upstairs and looked down, the guy who was on top beating up the other guy was the one laying in the grass, and I believe he was dead at that point, John said. Zimmerman says the shooting was self-defense. According to information released on the Sanford City website, Zimmerman said he was going back to his SUV when he was attacked by the young teen. The Sanford police say Zimmerman was bloody in his face and head, and the back of his shirt was wet and had grass stains, indicating a struggle took place before the shooting. So that's the Fox News report, okay? Now here's another report, amen? You can see how different it can be. Further doubt emerged Thursday after the circumstance of Florida teen Trayvon Martin's murder, as the mother of a young witness said her son was pressured by police and another onlooker. An unnamed witness speaking on CNN's Anderson Cooper 360 said the entirety of the scuffle he saw between the two took place on grass, challenging Zimmerman's claim that Martin had smashed his head against the sidewalk after punching him in the face, causing him to shoot the 17-year-old in self-defense. In reference to the size difference between 28-year-old Zimmerman and Martin, the witness described the fight as being between a larger man and a boy. While the witness said he was not able to see who was on top of the other as the two scuffled, he said there wasn't a lot of movement immediately before he heard a gunshot. Zimmerman didn't appear hurt as he walked away, he added, and he didn't see any blood on him. So those are two totally different witness accounts. Very few similarities in those two different accounts. And when it goes to a jury, or if it goes to a jury, the jury is going to have to sort out which one of these witnesses, next slide, Ms. Kim. Which one of these witnesses are credible? Amen. Which one of these witnesses are credible? So I was just curious about the case because I was wondering, how do you come about and how do you determine whether a witness is credible or not? How do you even determine whether you're going to accept a witness? Amen. And one of the research I had, the research I did, there's actual a legal criteria to see if the witness is credible or not. Can we go to the next slide, Ms. Kim? The first element of whether a witness is credible is expertise. Amen. If a person has an expertise in a matter, like as an example, let's say there was a police officer who actually saw the crime. His witness would be stronger than everybody else's because a police officer has training to remember this, remember that. For instance, I have a little bit of the training, but it's been so long that if someone came in here and shot someone in this room and ran out, many of us do not have police training, so we would not remember the height, the weight, the everything of the sun. But police officers have expertise in watching and remembering and the right details to identify a suspect. So if a police officer saw the event, his witness would have more credibility than everyone else because of his training. Amen. So expertise is one way to go and allow someone to have a little more credibility. I even got a little film here for you on expertise that you might be familiar with it.
You ever been on a real shrimp boat?
No, but I've been on a real big boat.
I'm talking about a shrimp catching boat. I've been working on shrimp boats all my life. I started out on my uncle's boat, that's my mama's brother, when I was about maybe 9. I was just looking into buying a boat of my own and got drafted. My given name is Benjamin Buford Blue. People call me Bubba. It's like one of them old redneck boys. Can you believe that?
My name's Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump. So Bubba was from Bayou La Battery, Alabama, and his mama cooked shrimp. And her mama before her cooked shrimp. And her mama before her mama cooked shrimp too. Bubba's family knew everything there was to know about the shrimping business.
I know everything there is to know about the shrimping business. Matter of fact, I'm going into the shrimping business for myself after I get out the army.
Shrimp, popcorn shrimp, big shrimp, little shrimp, amen, jumbo shrimp. He knew everything. So if we had a trial, amen, about cooking shrimp or whether it was good shrimp or if it's, let's say it's a civil trial. Let's say we're not talking about Trayvon Martin, we're talking a civil trial. And it's a trial about shrimp. Or who would be a good witness? Amen. Because Bubba Gump, he has got expertise, amen, in knowing all about shrimp. So experience, they can render expertise and they are more qualified as a witness. Amen. So expertise is one way to gauge. Amen. Expertise is one way to gauge whether someone is credible as a witness.